I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
All right, people, write something on the board. Let's spell it. First letter.
L O G.
What's that? What?
It's time. It's time to have real, honest, open, difficult, and inspiring conversations. It's time for Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hello there, family. Hello, 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 and welcome to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. Today is May 30th, Tuesday, May 30th, and I am your host, Carol Riddick, and I am joined by the incomparable Miss Kayla J., whom you already know, is here to make sure that everything runs smoothly. And she does just that. Happy belated Memorial Day. And a special thank you to all who served for your service. Thank you so much. Thank you. Family, I want to know what you did. You know how nosy I am. You know, I like to know what you're doing, what you did. I like to know how your day is going, how your weekend went, how your holiday was. Y'all know, talk to me. On that note, though, before we get started with anything, you know, I like to check in too. I've already said I want to know about your life. You know, I share mine. I was in Washington, D.C. this past weekend, and I had a great show two great shows at Blues Alley. So thank you, family, to those who came and to those who wanted to do so. We had an awesome time. Those who were not there in person, you were missed. But, you know, I feel your spirit because I always know you send me love. Family, for those of you who are on our socials, let us know you are there and ready to join the conversation. Hey there, Nasir. Good evening. Nasir Butler says, good evening, Sister Carol and Kayla J. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings right back to you and yours. We are so happy to have you join us. So the rest of our family members on our socials, we know you're there too. Send us a hello, please. Just reach out. Just say hey. You can also call me because you know I like to talk to you too. You can call me at 215-634-8065, or you can call toll free at 1-866-361-0900. And to our family members who are listening, but are not watching, you already know. I know you're there. I feel your love too. I always do. So family, to those of you, lastly, but certainly not least, if your light is shining dimly today, just know that I'm sending you some extra love and some hugs attached to it. You know that I am, because we all need that every now and again. So I know I missed some birthdays. Let me know if I missed yours, because I want to make sure you're recognized and celebrated. You know I like to celebrate. You know that I do. You know I'm a love bug. On that note, though, another one of our queens. Happy belated to the one and only Gladys Knight, whose birthday was on May 28th. She also turned 79. Isn't that something? Our babies. Gladys Knight, who turned 79, and Patti LaBelle, Aunt Patty, who turned 79. Two beautiful, uberly talented human beings and sweet souls. So family, you know, I want to talk to you about a few things. So I'm reading all the headlines and I'm seeing what's going on, in and around the world. And uh, I want to know what you think. I'm going to tell you what I think. The first headline I want to talk about is the baby who knocked on the wrong door. I read the headline today that the teen who knocked on the wrong door walks at brain injury event just weeks after being shot in the head. Ralph Yarl. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this story, but in the event you are not, the story reads, Ralph Yarl, a black teenager who was shot in the head and arm last month after mistakenly ringing the wrong doorbell, walked at a brain injury awareness event on Monday, yesterday, in his first major public appearance since the shooting. Now, y'all know, first of all, how I feel about our kids, about our babies. I am still praying for him and his family. I'm not sure where he is in his recovery, but I see that he's doing well enough to walk. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful to read that, but my heart is still so vexed at the situation itself, and the aftermath. My heart is just still so vexed about the way everything played out and the aftermath of it all. It was a simple mistake. He knocked on the wrong door. I believe he was going to pick up one of his siblings and he just knocked on the wrong door and he was shot in the head and the arm. And, that's an honest mistake any one of us could make. Any one of us could make. But, I'm sharing my opinion and I'm encouraging you to do the same. Talk with me. You can do so on our socials, or again, you can call me. I'm going to give you the number one more time, just in case you don't know it. Or don't have it. It's 215-634-8065, or you can call toll free at 1-866-361-0900. So that was one of the stories that I read today. Ralph Yarl, the baby. I call all of the kids babies, but he was a teenager. He is a teenager. So to me, he is a baby. And to you, I'm sure he is as well. A baby who was shot in the head and the arm last month after mistakenly ringing the wrong doorbell. So now I want to move on to another headline that I read. I want to talk with you about all of these headlines, but I'm reading them to you before our guests join us. I'm reading them to you because I want to talk about them with you. I'm curious to know your thoughts and your feelings about all of this. I have a question about this next headline that I read, though. Philadelphia police respond to unruly crowd of minors at Penn's Landing. So it reads that there was chaos along Penn's Landing on Monday night. There was a large police response after an unruly crowd took over the area of Penn's Landing on Memorial Day. A few hundred people, it reads, mostly teenagers. Now, I'm curious. I'm just so curious to know what is going on with our babies these days. Is it, I don't remember our demographic when we were their age, being as unruly. I don't know, y'all. Correct me if I'm wrong. Am I just, in the twilight zone, or I don't know. But I don't remember us, having as many incidents or experiences where we were called unruly and chaotic, and where things were just, the way they appear to be today. Listen, tell me, correct me if I'm wrong, because I could be in the twilight zone. Y'all know I like to see, the glass half full most of the time, as opposed to it being half empty. So let me know what you think and what you feel, because I'm curious to know if you feel the same way I do, or if you too believe it to be different. Talk to me. Let me know. Say, Carol, you are crazy. No, we were the same way. Let me know, because I'll accept that. I receive it if that's what you think or how you feel. I'm going to move on to another headline. So this next, I should say, headline is about the 11-year-old Darian Murray in Indianola, Mississippi. I'm not sure if you saw this story or are familiar, but I just so happened to catch a glimpse this morning or earlier. And it reads, Darian Murray, the 11-year-old boy who was shot by police on May 20th after calling 911, spoke out about the harrowing experience in an exclusive interview. And I saw a clip of this baby speaking. My Lord, my heart went out. And he said he awoke at 4 a.m. And he awoke to what was an argument, I believe. His mother said that her ex-boyfriend had showed up and she had an experience with him in the past with violence, and she recognized his temperament. She recognized when he showed up, and she asked him to call his grandmother. He called 911. The police came out, and this, Lord, y'all, I'm getting emotional. But the young man, the baby, because he's 11 years old, the baby said that when he came out of the door, the police officers said, "Come out with your hands up." He said he came out the door with his hands up, and he said to his mother, "I don't want to die." And his mother said, "You're not going to die, baby." And the police officer shot him, and he said it felt like a taser, like a big punch to his chest. Y'all, I don't even know what to say about that incident. I don't know what to say. I'm at such a loss for words because I'm so full of emotion, and my emotions are heightened in this moment when I think of it, when I read it, and when I saw the baby speak about what had happened to him. So the mother is calling for the officer to be fired. So I'm curious to know your thoughts about that as well. Nasir, thank you for commenting. Nasir writes, our parents were not our friends, and we had to respect them, and we had no social media to deal with. Let me tell you something. We just talked about social media. What was it, last week? We were talking about the effect of social media. I think social media has all of us going crazy, adults and our youth. You know, a lot of adults are don't know how to act with social media, and our babies don't have guidance as a result of it. So I'm in full agreement with you, Nasir. I do believe we have some family members on the line. Ron, are you there? Is that you, Ron? Hello, there's one of our family members on the line. I'm not sure if you can hear me well, but I do not hear you well. We may have a bad connection.
Can you hear me now?
I can. Hi, Ron. Hi.
Oh, I'm doing fine. What I'm about to say, ladies and gentlemen, it's not coincidental. It was meant to be. Today on Aaron's show, he talked about the elders and the nursing home and places like that. And when he talked about that, I thought about Cal when she first had one of her first programs. I think it was the second program. Cal brought her auntie on there, her and her husband. And what that did for her, for Cal's auntie, it was inspiration at the age that she was. What a way to start your program, beginning of a program that was going on to now. And I was listening to one auntie, and I couldn't see them, but I traveled in the theater of my mind. And I could imagine the joy that was brought to her face. Here she have her sister, child, bring her on the program, the third show on the program. That was that 3 again. And I want to thank you for that, Cal. And you should always keep that particular tape in your presence, because what you really did that night, you was energized. And I know when Cal gets to talk, when that cup runneth over, she began to speak with joy, and she began to get happy. She wanted to say one thing, but she said something else, but it's all for the greater good. And because of it, when you do what you do, and I want everybody to hear this, someone will do for you. Not money, not none of that stuff. Because what goes around comes around in that. Now, thank you for doing that for Andy. And I'm looking forward to it sometime, that you bring her on the show and let her tell that story. It's needed in a time like this that we're faced with. And I recall that night that you bring Auntie on. The name of that show would be that night, Great is Our Faithfulness in that relationship. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad that you was able to entertain in Washington, and to be able to bring some inspiration to those person there. So I'm glad that you do that for Auntie. You did that for Auntie. And when I speak like this, these are the things that touch me in life. To have someone to care for you and to think about you, that's a wonderful thing. Thank you, Carol. And thank you, listening audience, for supporting Carol. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you so much, as always. Thank you. And I am sharing your love with my aunt and uncle, and I have asked them to return, and they've agreed to do so. So they will be coming back. They will come back. Thank you. I believe we have another family member on the line. Are you still there?
Hey, Sister Carol. Hey, thanks for taking my call. Not a
Thank
family
you.
member, but yeah, I guess I am a family member in reference to being a part of the Black community. But I want
Yes,
to say
sir.
people have a lot of I would say misunderstanding in terms of a partnership and a collective unity with the police and the Black community.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be a little sarcastic. You know, there is a unity. There is a bond between the Black community and the police. So as this young Black kid gets shot by the police, which we hear all the time, that's happening, it's more happening with white police officers and Black individuals. You know, there's a bond as it relates to taking the lives of Black people. So that's the common bond, you know. So we have members in our community that take Black lives, and we have police officers that take Black lives. See that unity, you know, that takes place within the Black community and the police department. And I'll just leave you with this. You know, one of the most disturbing stories that still resonate in my heart and in my head is Brother Lambert. Remember Brother Lambert? That was, I believe it was in the 70s or 80s, and this man was beat with some traffic cones by some Black kids.
I remember that.
No, I'm just simply saying that all he experienced through life, you know, being in the service, dealing with white supremacy, racism, he has to come home and lose his life to Black children. So we got to do better, maybe, within our Black community. And
we definitely have to do better. I'm sorry.
Maybe we might get respect and might get maybe a different attitude from our oppressor or from our real enemies. So my point is we're just helping. And our youth, who are the backbone of our community, you know, they're misguided. When they get on the right track, then we are on the right track. Our community's on the right track. And maybe I'm thinking we just might get a little bit more respect from other people, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does. And well, let me ask you this, because I am in agreement with you that we do have to do better, and we definitely have to get on the right track. But where do we begin? Because our babies have become so unruly these days. Where do we begin? They are so lost.
Sister Riddick, I would simply say that, you know, it's a matter of being and loving ourselves. And I would say that it starts, I would say, in the church.
Mm.
You know, we need to promote being Black. And let me not confuse this. You know, being pro-Black is not being a Black racist or having hate. You know what I mean? And that's what we sometimes get misunderstand. You know, and I'll give you a perfect example. You know, the Old Testament, and I'm not going off a tangent, but I'm just giving you an example of the responsibility that we have as preachers have in the Black church. The Old Testament, full of Black people. You know, I'm not too sure, for example, when you went to church, the last time you went, but did your pastor really put the emphasis on the Black community? Did he speak about issues that are impacting the Black community? Or did he spend a lot of time talking about the Old Testament, Mark, John, Luke? You know what I mean? And so to me, that's the disconnect.
Well, just to give you an idea, because when I'm not in town, quite honestly, I've been attending virtually for a while now, but especially when I'm not in town, I still continue to do so. And I attend, my church home is Bright Hope, but I've been attending Enon because it's just been better for me with service. Receipt of service, I should say, you know, trying the signal. That's what I'm trying to say. It's just been better with the signal when I'm away. But Pastor Waller does an excellent job. And I know what you're talking about when you're not talking about, you know, When you talk about speaking positively about being Black and promoting, our culture, you're talking about having some pride in who we are and teaching our babies about our history so that they know who they are and have a respect for themselves and for their elders. I understand that, and I believe that that's where we've lost them, because there's a huge disconnect. They don't know who they are. They don't know from where they come, from who they come, and I'm in agreement with that. I constantly think, where do we begin to get them back?
You know what, Sister Cheryl, and let me make this last point, and I'll end. And I'll just give you. This is post Memorial Day, and give you an example. The real meaning and how the original Memorial Day started. We're not even sure in the Black community how that took place, and this was basically Black soldiers in the Civil War in the 1800s. We collectively were giving recognition to those, from the slaves. That's how this whole thing originated. So if you can go into that just a little bit, that would be a helpful, in terms of enlightening your audience. But that's a good example of what I'm talking about in terms of Black history and how we as a people don't know our own history. And that's part of the problem. Thanks for taking my call. I'll hang up and listen to your response.
No, thank you so much. I so appreciate you bringing that to my attention. You're absolutely right. My father actually served in the military, which is another reason that I actually say thank you to all who served, because you are right about knowing all of our history. There's so much of our history that we don't know. Beyond those who served in the military, we don't know who we are as adults, which is why our babies are lost, which is what I was saying to what you said. I was in agreement with everything that you were saying, but you're absolutely right about how it began, how the recognition began of Memorial Day. But we've come away from that too, because our celebration should be different. It should be totally and completely different than it is. We oftentimes gloss over Memorial Day in our celebrations. I didn't realize the time. Family, stay with us because we have to take a short commercial break, but we will be right back.
and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
What are you waiting for? If you've been enjoying the information and interviews WURD provides every day, or come out to our community events, it might be time to become a member. This year marks the 20th anniversary of WURD, and there's no better time to join the forward movement. Sign up or renew your sustaining membership at just $90, or your digital membership for just $5 a month. Join online at wordradio.com/membership, or pick up the phone and give us a call at 215-425-7875. Press 4 for assistance. The time to join is now.
What am I waiting for? This is your celebration.
I'm Patricia Canella Duckett from United Healthcare Community Plan, and I want to wish WURD a happy 20th anniversary. For those of you that do not know, WURD and United Healthcare Community Plan have a very long-standing history, and we'd love to continue the partnership and continue doing much work. Again, happy 20th anniversary. Thank you so much.
We're celebrating 20 years of progressive Black Talk Media. You're listening to Love and Life with Carol Riddick on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Hi there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURDradio.com. Before we take another call, I do want to go back to what our prior caller said about Memorial Day. And during the commercial break, I took a moment and I want to read this paragraph. It reads, "It is unclear where exactly this tradition originated of Memorial Day, but it also reads, some records show that one of the earliest Memorial Day commemorations was organized by a group of formerly enslaved people in Charleston, South Carolina, less than a month after the Confederacy's surrender in 1865. And so I'm grateful to you for pointing that out to me, because that paragraph right there was something, well, that was information of which even I was unaware. So I'm always grateful for education. I'm always grateful for the lesson. And I'm hoping that we're all open to information, education, and conversation. So thank you so much to you for helping with that. I want to take a moment to go back to the phones. I believe we have another family member waiting to talk with us. Are you still there? Hi there.
Really pretty. How y'all feel?
Doing well, thank you. How are you?
I feel a little sad because of the topics and everything, but maybe this will brighten up, bring a little bit of light. It's still relevant. That's the one thing I think about: the good times, the things we used to do, the places we used to go, and everything was so mellow, and true love was shared, and we used to care for one another. So don't stop caring for one another, because there's visions of love of what will be, and there's always someone who cares. And we got our families all over the world, and one of the greatest things you could ever want to learn about is family, because God designed the family, and our families teach us how to live the right way. They teach us how to solve our problems with honesty and love. They show us how to see the best in any situation that arises, and they amplify what it means to love somebody with all of their hearts. And God's purpose for the family is a matter of obedience to a call within a relationship with God that is friendly over all. The plan and purpose of family is to prepare every individual for creative and spirit-filled life, and coming to know who we are in the family, and we are better able to give ourselves in loving service to others. And God designed the family, and that's what I study about family and parenting and things, stuff like that there.
I can't thank you enough for those words. You are absolutely right. One of the things that touched me most about the last story that I read about the 11-year-old Darian Murray, and not only because he's a baby, he is a baby, but when his mother said, "You're not going to die, baby," I broke down. When I saw the clip, when I saw the news clip, it broke me, because here we are. The baby was trying to protect his mother, protect his household, because there was just the two of them. And you talk about family, there's nothing stronger from my understanding than a mother's love. But to see her baby be shot. So I'm in agreement with everything that you're saying. Not that it matters whether I am or not, but you know what I'm saying. I appreciate you sharing that positivity with us and that message about family. It means so much to me because, I have such strong, vibrant memories of family growing up and how they shaped us. Family. If you have just joined us, you're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURD radio.com. We're talking about a few stories. We're talking about the teen who knocked on the wrong door, who was shot in the head and the arm, who walked at a brain injury event just yesterday. We're talking about the police responding to an unruly crowd of teenagers last night at Penn's Landing. A few hundred people, mostly teenagers, as it was reported. And we're talking about 11-year-old Adarian Murray, who speaks out after having been shot by the police following a 911 call. He was calling to protect his mother. I believe we have more family members on the line. Are you there? Are you still there?
I'm here. And Carol, I first want to send back to you hugs and love, as well as to Kayla J, because I know that the ear is very sensitive to the information that we receive, especially when it affects our spirit and our heart.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. And I want to say that I believe that our nation is in need of cooperative response. When the Warren Commission was formulated, there was objection and opposition across this nation to even have a Warren Commission to look into the assassination of J.F. Kennedy. It is from there that other probes began to look into the assassination of our leaders as well. Here in Philadelphia, it was necessary to have a commission to look into the whole matter regarding MOVE. So what we need is a probe principal, and we need that probe principal perhaps to be with our internal affairs within these various police departments nationally. As we do know that when everything began with the child in Florida, there was those people who felt that they were the neighborhood town watch. And from there had been an escalating of whom, in fact, were the priority principal insofar as the action that they did in killing us. So that's one. And I want to call people's attention to, which has a lot of information. It covers the Civil War. It covers every war that took place, as well as it does cover some truths that I never knew. And I'm calling your attention to they were just in the way, in removal. What I found is that there are 1,296,505 views on that and 53K likes. My instinctive self tells me that the majority of those watchers are not us, that are not the black, brown of this nation. I do believe that some of the strategies that are being used against us is from the history. So I'll say that once more. They were just in the way, Indian removal. I will believe me when I say to you, Carol, prepare yourself, because what you will find yourself is wanting to remove yourself from the facts evolving around it. What you'll also be able to do is say, well, wait a minute, Mr. Trump and those folks who are his followers, those folks who are still sounding an untruth regarding many factors, they're probably also responsible for a large portion of our military records missing. There has been another historical factor which has been brought forth from thank you, CEO of WURD. At the African American Museum, we went over the historical part of deeds and records. And that was not a Black man who looked into those matters of which was being discussed that day. So there are some white folks who have suffered throughout this too. So my thinking is that, as was said by one caller, we don't know enough about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We can, in fact, say that there has been a lot of fires regarding records, and that there has been too many cyber attacks on information regarding our military families. So, as that phrase goes.
Miss Audrey, I have a question for you. You said they were just in the way?
They were just in the way, yes. And then there's that some sort of a marker after that, Indian removal. That's on YouTube.
Oh, I was going to ask you where to find it. Was it YouTube or was it YouTube?
I was watching. It was so much to absorb. It's almost 3 hours long. And when I say you need a pen and pencil, you'll begin to think, oh, now I know. Oh, that's why certain news was made. And yes, you'll also find, if I may just say this one, they want us to remember what should not be the highlight regarding historical factors. For instance, there is a person who came about of the indigenous, Wovoka, Wovoka. That is a person whom the other tribes were like, well, who is this person that claims to be Christ? So my instinct tells me that timeline where Mr. Frederick Trump, wherein the president of this country was Grover Cleveland, the vice president was Thomas A. Hendricks, and then Thomas A. Hendricks became president under the so-called party of the Democrats. That when you look at the things that were done against the military when they were in the office, then you'll clearly understand that basically since the beginning of this nation, there has been a compromise. And the compromise has always been, well, where did that develop from? Well, how do we put those pieces together? And we've always been the subject.
Oh, Miss Audrey, I can't thank you enough. You always give me more to think about, and definitely you have me researching every day. But I thank you for that because I have such a thirst for knowledge and to be educated. So I am definitely going on YouTube tonight. They were just in the way. Indian removal.
Yes.
Oh my Lord. I'm fearful of what I'm going to find.
And as they say, you might want to hold someone's hand as you're watching.
I can't thank you.
My words, family, and love to you again, Kayla J, and to you, Carol. Love and hugs, because the ear receives a lot of information through these waves of the phone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And to you as well, because we're all digesting all of this. So thank you so much, Miss Audrey. Oh, family. If you've just joined us, you are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. We're talking about everything, but that's what we do here on Love and Life. I believe we have another caller on the line, if I'm not mistaken. Are you still there?
Yeah, are you still there?
Yes, I am. Hello, how are you?
Girl, I'm doing without. How you doing?
I listen, as my mother would say, I'm fair to middling.
Yeah, well, it's good to hear you, and you're filling some big shoes, but you're doing a magnificent job.
Oh,
I want to give a shout out. I can't name all these people, but I want to give a shout out to Brother Cliff in Connecticut and Brother Rick in Germany. I just want to say I admire their courage and their knowledge. Now, Medgar Evers, he's overseas fighting for somebody else's
to have something he don't even have in his own country. Freedom, justice, and equality. When Medgar Evers come back home from overseas fighting for somebody else, he want to organize people to vote. He gets shot down going into his house and his back, gunned down. His wife and his children had to run out and experience that. Now, Ida B. Wells, Negro soldier was being lent in uniform going back home in the South from the military. So Ida B. Wells goes to President Roosevelt. He said, Mr. President, these Negro soldiers being taken off these trains when they going home and they being lent. He said, you got to do something. President Roosevelt told Ida B. Wells, he said, well, Ida, tell them don't wear their uniforms home. Ain't that something? Yeah, he told them, tell them don't wear their uniforms on. You ain't care nothing about their life. He told them to wear their uniforms on. Now, here's the thing we have. This is where we at, people. We're coming to the bottom line of our enslavement in this country. Eventually, they're going to slaughter us. It's not long now. It might be 1 or 2 years. They're going to be a mass slaughter. And what we have to do and need to do, and we can't do it because we don't have the leadership, we need an international human rights over us yesterday. Now, here's the kicker to that. Who control the UN? Boss. Who control the World Court? World Bank? Boss. So even if we go there, boss still control that. Look at all this killing of us going on here. And you got a United Nations right here in New York. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Let me be calm here. We are being assassinated on the street by law enforcement, and you got a United Nations headquarters in New York City. You don't hear a word from them. You hear nobody up there telling them, hey, man, we need you to speak out on this. Nothing. Here's the thing, people. We all recognize that, but here's the thing. What do that mean for us?
Exactly.
Terror going on against us, been on us since we was enslaved. We don't even have nobody speaking out on it except on the MF and out show. What do that mean? We in a very dangerous, serious situation. We can be slaughtered and mad. And guess what? All the people who've been exterminated behind us, guess what? The world goes on. And the world is going to go on after us. That's the nature of human nature. They're not going to sit around and cry about somebody who's been exterminated. They got to eat, sleep, have a job. They're going to keep moving.
I have a question for you. Do you believe there are enough of, I have a question for you. I'm sorry to interject. Do you believe there are enough of us who are of the mindset to make a change? Do you believe there are enough of us?
It's not so much as number as it is leadership. That's why Marcus Garvey said, when it comes to a people system, nothing is more important than leadership. Person who speak out on what I just said, they don't have to change. They don't have to change. Why aren't they speaking out? And if they are not speaking out on this, if they're not bringing the world attention to the great danger we're in here, we have no chance whatsoever. They don't have to change it. But who's speaking out on it besides on these talk shows? Nobody.
That's a good point.
That's why I give the survivor tips sometimes to our people. But when this slaughter started us, when this mass slaughter started, you're going to have to try.
Mm. I'm going to interject for one moment because we definitely have to take a break. I'm so sorry, but your point is, oh my, it hits hard. I feel it. I feel exactly what you're saying, and you're right about the lack of leadership. You are absolutely right about that. Family, stay with us because we're still talking. The conversation is continuing, but we definitely have to take a break. So stay with us because we will be right back.
For more than a decade, Comcast has been committed to bridging the digital divide in Philadelphia and across the country. From connecting people to the internet to opening doors for the next generation of innovators, entrepreneurs, and storytellers, they are helping to create a future that benefits generations to come. Now, Comcast is expanding their efforts through Project Up, their comprehensive initiative to help build a future of unlimited possibilities. Backed by a $1 billion commitment to reach tens of millions of people over the next decade, Comcast is working to ensure all Philadelphians have the skills, resources, and opportunities they need to participate and excel in an increasingly digital world. This includes partnering with community experts to build a network of digital navigators, trusted individuals who help build awareness around initiatives like the government's Affordable Connectivity Program and teach critical digital skills to get more people online. Project Up, building a future of unlimited possibilities. Learn more at comcast.com/Project Up. Through Project Up, Comcast is committing $1 billion to build a future of unlimited possibilities.
Hey, son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Word Radio is the only African-American owned and operated talk radio station in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and one of only 3 remaining in the country. In the past 20 years, Word has evolved into a multimedia, multi-platform communications company that reaches deeply into the Black community through radio, events, digital, and social media. It is considered the go-to channel to engage, interact, and connect with Philadelphia's Black community. Our brand is built on the personal legacy of our founder, Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD. Dr. Lomax was a brilliant physician who established medical centers in underserved neighborhoods throughout Philadelphia to provide high-quality health care to Black and Brown communities for over 30 years. One of his most ambitious acquisitions was when he purchased WURD Radio. He understood the power of ownership and the power of independent media. Through Word, he wanted to ensure that Philadelphia's Black community had the ability to speak and be heard in their own voice. We are celebrating 20 years of Black excellence. We are celebrating 20 years of progressive Black talk media.
What is love?
You're listening to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
I think I know what love is.
Hi there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. So if you've just joined us, you've missed a lot. We've been talking about life. We've been talking about some of our headlines, some of current events. I posed a few questions. We were talking about the teenager who knocked on the wrong door and was shot in the head and in the arm. He mistakenly knocked on the wrong door. I believe he was going to retrieve his siblings. And he was at an event yesterday where he walked. at a brain injury event just weeks after having been shot. So we were talking about that, and I was asking about your opinions on that. We were also talking about police responding to an unruly crowd of minors, teenagers, a few hundred people, mostly teenagers, at Penn's Landing. And I asked, I just don't remember going through the phase where we gathered as teenagers and we were referred to as being unruly or chaotic. So I was posing the question to you all to ask, do you have that memory of us being unruly or chaotic, or if I'm in the twilight zone, because that I could possibly be. I tend to see life with the glass half full as opposed to it being half empty. And then we were also talking about the 11-year-old little boy, the baby named Adarian Murray from Indianola, Mississippi, who was shot by a police officer after having called 911, and he was trying to save his mother, whose ex-boyfriend had come by and who has a history of violence. The mother is asking or calling for the officer to be fired. So I am still curious to know what you think and how you feel about that. I did tell you that we do have a guest coming to speak with us shortly, but I wanted to make sure that we talked about, what's going on. I think it's so important. I tell you all the time that communication is essential. And I believe it's key, that we all remain on the same page. Speaking of communication, I want to take a moment to go to our socials. Joanne Dorman. Hi, Miss Joanne. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. She writes, "Good evening, Carol, Kayla J, Word family, guests, and listeners. I had a birthday. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday to you." She had a birthday on May 19th, and she writes that she is grateful for Earth's purposes. Happy belated birthday to you. Y'all know I told you I'm a love bug, and I love, love, love to celebrate you. I believe we should all be spoiled and celebrated. So happy belated birthday to you. Craig Williams writes, "Good evening, everyone. I am aware of the stories you're speaking about, and they are heartbreaking." I cried. Well, y'all know I'm very sensitive. I'm very, very sensitive, and empathic at times, mostly empathic. But I cried when I saw a clip of little Adarian Murray talking about having been shot. He said that the officer told him to come out with his hands up, and he said he came out the door with his hands raised, and he said that he told his mother that he didn't want to die, and she said, "You're not going to die, baby." And it broke me. It really, really, as I say it and I repeat it, I just can't imagine. He's 11. Little baby. But in any event, like I said, the conversation is continuing, and I'm curious to know your thoughts and feelings before our guest joins us. I also want to say hello to Joey, our friend Joey Dixon, who's joining us. He writes, "Peace, Carol, Word family, one love, and jazz to you." Hi, Miss Lily. Miss Lily is also joining us. She writes, "Good evening, Carol, Kayla J, guest, Word family, and friends." Excuse me as I try to get myself together, talking about what's going on in the world today. It makes me heavy. It really does. It makes me heavy oftentimes. But like I said, I feel like it's important for us to discuss and important for us to talk about what's happening in our neighborhoods, what's happening in the world, because we're all moving about. And because, I always tell you that we are all we have outside from the Creator himself. Now listen, y'all know how I feel about him, but I tell you all the time that we should be good to one another. I say that to you every single night. Be good to you, be good to those around you, because I believe it, because I live it, because I believe it is so important for us to do. What I want to do right now, I want to move a little further because I want our guest to have a good amount of time. I want you to get to know her, and because I'm so excited to talk about the next topic as well, I want to share with you what we're going to talk about. I keep getting sidetracked because I want to talk about everything. Y'all know how I do. You know how I get. I get to talking and then I forget. And then I look at the time and I say, oh my goodness. So what we're going to do before we bring our next guest into the room, we're going to take a short commercial break so I can get myself together. You can decompress and digest, and then we'll start anew. How does that sound? That sounds good. It sounds good to me. Okay, so we're going to take a short break, but we will be right back. So stay with us, family.
Sunday, June 18th, the Philadelphia Juneteenth Parade and Festival. Down 52nd Street in West Philly to Malcolm X Park. Sponsored in part by 6ABC, Visit Philadelphia, Philadelphia Foundation, and Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. With fabulous floats, Miss Juneteenth, Pennsylvania, and a special performance in the parade from the Lion King. The festival features 2 stages with performances by Fat Man Scoop, Lil Mo, and Cupid. Click JuneteenthPhilly.org.
Word Radio is happy to provide our listeners with the opportunity to participate in contests and win prizes. This is a reminder of our contest rules. All participants must be 18 years of age or older. Depending on the contest, persons may win only 1 prize from the radio station per contest for every 30-day period. Some contests might also specify 1 winner per household or company. Prizes must be claimed within 14 days or by 12 noon the day before the event, whichever is sooner, and must be accepted as is or forfeited. The radio station employees and their immediate relatives, sponsor employees and their immediate relatives, live remote sponsor employees and their immediate relatives, and any other media employee are ineligible to win prizes. Thank you for participating and for listening to WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now, it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Founders Day is just around the corner, and it's time to nominate a person or a group for the 3rd Annual Community Impact Award. Nominees should be a person or a group in business, health and wellness, creative and performing arts, and community engagement who works tirelessly to strengthen and uplift our community. You can also nominate a word host or staff member. The deadline for nominations is June 9th. Please visit our website at wordradio.com. Scroll to the latest news section and click on the post about making a nomination for Word's Community Impact Award. The finalists will be announced on Friday, June 30th, and the recipients will receive their awards during the Founders Day celebration on August 18th. So, save the date and make a nomination today. Celebrating 20 years of progressive Black Talk Media. We're bringing joy and power to the people. This is WURD 900 AM and 96.1 FM, Philadelphia. Streaming online at wordradio.com and the Word Radio app.
Let me tell you something, and don't you ever forget it. Success is nothing without someone you love to share it with.
You're listening to Love and Life with Carol Riddick on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. Welcome back to the top of the 2nd hour of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. I just want to say thank you to everyone who participated in the conversations that we had in the first hour, to everyone that called in, and to all of our family members that participated online as well. But I definitely want to remind you to feel free to do so. You can continue to comment on our socials, and you can also call us if you'd like to comment. You can do so by calling 634-8065, or you can call toll free at 1-866-361-0900. I want you to know that your opinion matters to me. As I say this, I want to shift gears. As I was explaining to you just before the break, we do have a guest visiting with us this evening, and I just find her to be a joy. I happen to work with her. You all talk me. You hear me talk about our babies. You hear me talk about our babies, my babies, our babies, your babies. I call your babies my babies because I don't have any biological children, so I call your babies my babies. And I happen to working with our babies. Our next guest was born in the UK, actually, and considers herself a lifelong learner. Both of her parents served in the British Army, and they instilled a passion for serving others in her and her siblings. Her career has always, in some form, been about supporting children in the education system. She's been a part of public, cyber, and private schools as an administrator since her arrival in the United States 22 years ago. She is currently the Director of Marketing and Communications at Center School in Abington, a school for children with dyslexia, dysgraphia, Discaculia, and ADHD. Family, I invite you to meet Heidi Mozzillo. Hi there, Heidi. How are you?
I am well, Carol. How are you? Thank you for having me on this evening.
I'm happy to have you. So happy to have you. So, family, I should let you know, as I was explaining, you hear me share stories sometimes about our babies. And those stories most of those stories are babies with whom I have experiences with at Center School. So I work with Heidi, and I thought it would be a great idea to have Heidi come and talk with us about Center School, because I believe it to be a wonderful institution. I was explaining to you, Heidi, that it's the first school in my experience that has such a concentration on the challenges that you all address. I just hate saying disabilities. I can't, because I consider them challenges. We all have challenges, no matter what they are. So I believe it to be the first. It's definitely the first school with which I have had an experience, but I love the approach of Center School. So I've invited you to come and talk with us, not only about the school, but about the curriculum, about what you do, and how we can find out more information. So please share with us first more about you. What initially brought you to the United States?
So, Carol, it's kind of a strange journey. So I have always been, as a lifelong learner, and part of my position in the UK, I was actually in nursing. So I was actually in psychiatric pediatric nursing, and I was working in a facility where children with some severe challenges that may have had some behavior or even some mental health needs. And I was actually asked to come and do a training session here in the US for a organization here. And it was supposed to be a 2-year exchange program. And 22 years later, this is now home. I'm still advocating heavily for our youth and for our children to make sure that they can get the services that they need, not just from the education side of things, which is primarily my focus, but just in general, just learning to self-advocate for themselves, because they have to stand up. And I was listening to your segment before I came on, and I'm sitting there nodding. And I'm like, Carol, yes. We talk about this stuff at work, and it's so important. And your listeners may not know this, and please let me share. When Carol walks into our school, the vibe changes. And I know she's going to be like, oh, Heidi, why are you doing this to me right now? But the vibe changes. The children adore her. They understand why she's there. They love her. They walk past me like I'm just invisible, and in they come. And Carol, you make a difference in those children's lives when you walk into our building. So thank you for that.
Oh my goodness. I appreciate that. I really, really do. Well, you know how important they are to me. You do. I've talked with Heidi about them and well, like she said, she sees me, in the hall with them and in class and she does know. But our babies are so important to me. It is so it is always taxing on me when I see children that have challenges that go unaddressed. And I've worked in some family. For those of you, let me start here. For those of you who are unaware, I from time to time work as a teaching artist. So one day a week, I go to center school and I work with our babies at the center school, and it's by assignment. So if I'm able, if I'm not traveling a lot, when I'm in Philadelphia and I have an assignment, I will go to to different institutions or after school programs in which I participate. But right now, this is the only assignment I was able to take. So this is the only one that I have, and I enjoy it so much. I love, love, love going to center school. But just speaking from having worked with children in the past who've had some of the same challenges that went unaddressed, it gives me a greater appreciation for center school. And you know what? I don't even know how center school came about. I think it's great that the conversation took place and that the idea came to fruition. But how did center school come about?
It came about from a conversation just like you and I are having right now, Carol, between two mothers that were struggling to find services in the mainstream public education. They were looking for support. Their children couldn't read. They identified that their children could not read. These were bright children. They were getting by in life, but they were learning other skills because they couldn't read. So they'd overcome some challenges, and their parents knew that there was going to come a time when they needed to learn to read. They needed to be able to have this skill in order to move into adulthood. And that's where center school came about. They said, we need to provide this for our children. We need to find this. They fought the public school system and they said, this is what we're going to do. And 30 plus years later, at this point, we've served thousands and thousands of students. And for me, my incredible story is walking into that building and watching a child that is shy, is unsure of himself, unconfident, doesn't want to make eye contact because he can't read. He's terrified of being found out, to then seeing them 6 months later and you say to them, what was the best part of your day today? I read this great chapter book. I mean, I can't even talk about how it feels and just the environment. And to think what those mothers went through when they first started to look to set up a school like center school, and the challenges that they must have gone through to try and just advocate for their children. It's like you said, Carol, they're our babies. They're all our babies, and making sure that they could get everything that they need and being denied at every single step. They took it upon themselves and said, enough. We're going to start a program. And as I said, 30 plus years, we're about to celebrate our graduating class in 2 weeks. Yeah. And, these kids are moving on, and they're moving on being confident learners. They know who they are. They know how to self-advocate for themselves. Like, I could come to you and say, Carol, I'm a visual learner. If it's not written down, it's not going to happen. Being able to teach these students the same skills and saying, like, you do matter, and everything that we can teach you here is going to project you to bigger and greater things. And seeing some of our alumni come back, think about a child that came into our school that couldn't read in second grade, could not read, also had a problem with mathematics, that is now studying political science. And that's the stories that I can't tell. Like, it's just a feeling. And I always say the best way to find out about center school is to walk in our doors, because you feel it. And I think you feel that when we come in the door.
Oh, you do? Oh, wait, because I've told everybody, I said, I've never been to a school like this. I have never, ever been to a school like this. And so I do have one story. Well, I have a ton of them because Heidi, I share, but I don't know if I shared this story with you. So one day I had a class, and so what I do in my classes, family, I explain to our babies. I say, okay, so what we do in Miss Carol's class is that we work and then we play. We work and then we play. So as long as we get through our exercise, then we're able to play. And I allow them playtime. It's their free time. So yes, you can have your free time once our work is done. So in this one particular class, there were a few of the students who just seemed they seemed a little heavy that particular day. So I said, okay, so should we have just a talk session? And they said, yes, we really should, because we have to get some things off of our chest. Everybody started talking, and they started opening up, and they said, we really appreciated this. This was them explaining to me. They said, Miss Carol, we really appreciated this because I think each of us needed to talk. And that was one of the students. Another one in the same class said, yes, Miss Carol, it was really nice of you to let us share in this way because we don't get to do this outside of school. They at the end of the session of us talking, one of the students said, would you like to share anything? But it felt so sweet because they even cared. They cared, what I was thinking. But as we talk about, Heidi, you heard the conversations we were having in the first hour. We were talking about the things taking place and everything going on. And it feels so good when I see the diversity in Center School.
Yes.
I don't believe I've been at another school actually, or had an experience at another school with as much diversity. And I appreciate that too, because it's a totally different experience. It's a totally different experience for the babies. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing when we're all sitting there and communicating. You all know that I say constantly as adults, I don't believe we know how to communicate effectively and we don't adult properly. But I believe that's because we don't, we're not patient with one another. We don't exactly exercise a lot of patience with one another. So I think that is one of the things that I love the most about this school. And I said, Heidi, you have to come on and talk with our family members about this school because we've been talking about, we've been talking about our kids. We've been talking about recognizing May is, Mental Health Awareness Month. And then we were talking about some of the challenges that our adults and some of our children face. And I said, well, we have to have this conversation because I'm sure there are other parents, there are other guardians or caregivers who are raising children with some of these challenges. And I just feel like this would be such a beautiful place for them to visit. In any event, finally, if you've just joined us, you are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURDradio.com. Listen, I always invite you to join the conversation, and I'm continuing to do so. I still want to continue our conversations. It's important to me that I know how you feel and what you're thinking. I did pose some questions earlier, and the topics are still on the table. You can comment on our socials, or you can call us 215-634-8065, or you can call us toll free at 1-866-361-0900. I'm not sure what happened to Heidi's visual. We were talking with Heidi. We seem to be having a technical issue with the stream at the moment, but Heidi is still here with us. So if you have questions about Center School, you can actually ask them and get some answers about Center School. I do want to make sure I let you know, we did talk about dyslexia and we talked about ADHD, but one of the other challenges I was talking about was it Dysgraphia and Discaculia Discaculia is, I cannot get the word right. I can't get the word right. But one is as it pertains to reading, and the other is as it pertains to math, learning challenges, as it pertains to reading, and one is as it pertains to learning challenges with math. But when I tell you, when I see these babies learning, when I see them communicating with not only me, but with each other, it really is a beautiful thing. And as Heidi was saying, we're talking about, our babies, they want to learn. But if you're not sure how to communicate when you're having a challenge and you don't really fully understand it yourself, that poses some challenges in and of itself. I want to take a moment to go to our socials and say hello. Gary Bryant is here joining us. Good evening to you, Gary. He writes, "Good evening, Carol Riddick and Word family. It's such a pleasure." Miss Lily, thank you. She writes, "Great and very educating dialogue." Thank you very much for that. If you have a question for Heidi, again, so Heidi's visual is back now. We were having some technical issues for a moment, but if you do have a question for Heidi about curriculum, about the school, or anything about Center School, please feel free, because I know, with all the questions that I might ask, I might not ask the one that you definitely need or want the answer to. So you can do so again by reaching out on our socials, or you can call us, 215-634-8065, or you can call us toll free at 1-866-361-0900. So Heidi, I want to ask you a question about, you were talking about the visits, because I know when I'm there, oftentimes there are parents and students or babies, potential students who come to visit. How does one set that up? How does that happen?
So they can call you and talk to me, which is one of the easiest ways to do that. Or they can actually email either myself or our director of admissions. It is hmazzillo@centerschoolpa.org. And I know that's a little bit long, so you can just jump on our website as well and go to centerschoolpa.org. So it will look for the one in Abington. There is a school that has a very similar name to ours in New Jersey. So just make sure you're clicking on the one in Abington. And I welcome families to come and visit us, even if their child hasn't got any of these challenges, whether it's dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, ADHD, any of those that we serve. It's more come out and see us as a resource as well, because we all know somebody that has challenges and may need some extra support, and being knowledgeable of those supports is also just as important as just giving information online and saying, yeah, I think I know about something, but being able to come into our building and have that feeling is really important. You'll get to meet with some of our student ambassadors. So again, these are children that came to us shy and nervous and not confident, that are now standing in front of strangers and talking about their challenges and talking about what they do every day. And it's probably the most special part of my job, honestly, is to hear the kids talk about, hey, well, I couldn't read when I came to Center School, but now I can, and I love my teachers, and this is what I come to do. And I can't talk about that in a way that's powerful. And that's why I say, families, come and see me, come and check us out. We invite everybody and anybody to come and see us. I know that we're not too far from Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is one of our biggest counties that we service. So just come along and see us. And I'd love to talk to you a little bit about our curriculum. We're very small. We're small by design. We're focused on that literacy instruction for children. And we have 3 hours of literacy a day for each grade. And what that means is it's just integrated into every single subject. So anything that the students learn, it's carried over. So if they learn a strategy during their Wilson reading session, that strategy is carried over into math. It's carried over into social studies and science. And we're proud to say, we are focused on literacy. That is our main importance and our main topic. And yes, we have all of the other things that a traditional school would have, but it's pretty neat to see these kids going out to recess and sitting on our reading rock with a book. It's pretty special.
It really is. It really, really is. And I have to say, I love the freedom that they feel, because there's a level of comfort that you see them express. There's a level of comfort that you feel from them because they feel comfortable, and they I think that's there's so many things that I really do love about the school itself, but like you were saying about seeing the students, just witnessing or being with them, being in their company, having a conversation with them, or even watching them talk with one another, even when they're talking amongst each other. Let me tell you something. Their conversations are real. They are some real conversations. So I definitely appreciate the time and the energy that you all put in, to helping them, because you're helping to create adults who are going to learn to, like I say, communicate effectively and adult properly. Family, if you have just joined us, you are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. We are talking with Heidi Mozzillo of Center School. She is the Director of Marketing and Communications at Center School in Abington. She just shared information about how you can reach her. But if in the event you did not catch any of that, when we come back from the commercial break, Heidi's going to repeat it, but you can always, as you know, email loveandlife@wordradio.com, and I will make sure you have all the information you need. I promise. But family, stay with us, because we're just going to take a short commercial break, and we will be right back.
Word Radio Digital Tip of the Month with Stephanie Humphrey. Brought to you by Comcast.
It's always useful to have some tips on how to make your smartphone battery last longer, and here are a couple you might not have thought of. First, closing the apps on your phone probably won't save battery life. That may have been the case with earlier technology, but today's phones are optimized for apps, and opening them from scratch actually takes more battery power than just keeping them open. If you like streaming things like music, podcasts, or movies, try downloading the content to your phone to listen offline if that option is available. Streaming from the internet uses up way more battery life than listening to something that's stored in your phone's memory. So think about using these two tips to make sure your smartphone battery lasts all day. Stay tuned to WURD for more tips, and stay connected with us at wordradio.com.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
The job search can be a difficult and frustrating process. Word's Livelihood Initiative was designed to help you find the right opportunity for your next professional move. Check out these recent openings posted on the Livelihood job board at wordworks.com. Brown ShopRite and Fresh Grocer are hiring cashiers at multiple locations. And Herb Foods are hiring truck drivers, various warehouse shift laborers, and a sales representative. For more information on these jobs and many others, go to wordworks.com and learn more about the Livelihood Initiative. Brought to you by Word Radio, Progressive Black Talk Media.
You're listening to Love and Life with Carol Riddick on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. We are talking with Heidi Mozzillo, who is the Director of Marketing and Communications at Center School in Abington, which is a school for children with dyslexia, dysgraphia, and dyscalculia and ADHD. And Heidi is going to make sure, because I want to make sure I explained it well. I just gave a little brief description, but I'm going to ask Heidi to do so in a moment. But I want to share one of the things that really resonated with me about Center School is that the classes in the classrooms, there are no more than 10 children. And if there are 10, there are 2 teachers. That spoke so loudly to me because, I've been, and I know that all institutions may not be able, so that's not where I'm going with this. But what I'm saying is that I've had the experience where I've been the only educator in a classroom with anywhere between 25 to 27 children. And there are challenges in that, but I appreciate that is a rule at Center School. And I do find it so helpful. I find it most helpful. I'm curious to know what age group, so that we can share with our family members, what age group is it that Center School caters to?
So we are for students in grades 1 through 8. So the age group can be a little different if children have perhaps been retained a year or two, but we do start as young as 1st grade, and then we have our 8th graders graduate on and go on to schools that are similar to ours, or can actually go back to their mainstream public school or another school in their area that they may choose.
Nice. So when a family comes to visit, what does that visit look like? What would that visit look like for a family that wants to come and visit?
Absolutely. So again, it's just like you and I, Carol. We want to get to know the family and the child. And it's not about the child fitting our program. It's making sure that we can support that whole child, and not just on the education side of it, but holistically as well. Can we support every need that they have coming in the door? Because there's nothing worse than transitioning to a new school and finding it doesn't fit. It's not right for the family. So that's definitely a conversation that we have. And it's very open and it's very honest of, this is what we can support. This is what we can service. This is how we can help. Will this work for you and your family? And it's a very open dialogue. From there, they get the joy of walking around our building. We sit on a beautiful campus. We're very, very fortunate to have all of that green space. And we have an absolute amazing hill in the back for snow. We haven't had much of that this winter, but it is always the highlight of our year is going sledding down that hill. But families would come in and they get the opportunity to not only see the school and see the life of the school, but they can talk to teachers and they can talk to students and they can talk to the administration as well. They would actually be walked around by our director of admissions, Mrs. Tiffany Getz. You would get to see our head of school. She's always visible. She's always around. Carol, we're always in the hallways doing something. So you'll always meet part of that administration. And we are a family, just like the word family here. We are a family and we're taking care of these children, and we want our prospective families to feel that way too. We want them to feel that when they walk in the door, they found a home for their child. And a lot of these families have gone through so much trauma to get to where they need to get to and coming to us. And I had a mother tell me about her child that had ADHD and, couldn't sit still in the classroom, and the teacher couldn't understand it. And teachers have a really, really hard job, regardless of what environment they are. It's a tough job. So knowing that her child could actually come into a school like Center School and not have to sit in his seat for 6 hours, being able to do the stand-up desk. So we have lots of multimodal seating in our classrooms as well. So if a child needs to get the wiggles out, like I can't sit still for 5 minutes, but we have those types of things in classroom for our students. And that's something the families will see when they come in. They will see the small class sizes. They will see all of these different approaches. Some children standing up, some children actually sitting on wiggle seats, some children on like the yoga bounce balls. You'll see it all. But most importantly, what you'll see is children are engaged in learning. And that's my biggest takeaway when I see families and like, what did you see? What did you feel? And they said the kids were happy to be there. And I was like, and that's our story.
That's the truth. Heidi, I cannot tell you enough and have you understand. That was why it was so important to have you come and talk with our family members, because we've been talking about some of these challenges. And I thought we're better to have you come and talk about center school than here, because there may be some of our family members who have children or grandchildren or are the guardians of children who, could benefit from coming to center school. I want to make sure that I explained it properly and correctly. And I mentioned dysgraphia, and I believe that was learning challenges as it pertains to reading. Is that writing? Right. So writing, and dyscalculia are learning challenges as it pertains to math. Correct. Is that correct? Okay. I wanted to make, so I'm sure family, if you are familiar with these terms, then I'm sure that you are familiar, but I had to become more familiar because I was, I had some experience, but after having done some more research, I'm still learning more and more. But I too, I agree with you, Heidi, about the comments that some of the parents made, because I felt the same thing. And I felt the same way when I came. And it's really an experience when you go and you're in any one of the classrooms. It doesn't matter the subject matter. It doesn't matter what they're learning. But when you're in any of the classrooms, to see that they are attentive and that they are enjoying learning. Yes. That's a huge statement. It's a huge statement. Family, if you have just joined us, I want to let you know that you are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, progressive Black talk media, on air and online at wordradio.com. We're talking with Heidi Mozzillo, who is the Director of Marketing and Communications at Center School in Abington. And as you just heard me say, I told her that I thought it was so important that she come and talk with us about the school, because, I could share with you about the school, but there's so much more that she could share with you than I could. And I thought it was a necessary conversation because of the curriculum, the care, the attention, everything that makes Center School special, because it is special. It really is special. How long has Center School been in existence? Now, that is one thing of which I'm not aware.
1989. So what, 30 plus years at this point? Yeah. And wow. It has stayed true to its model since the beginning of helping children realize their own potential and just unlocking their futures. And that really is a big part of our mission and our philosophy as well. And you mentioned the curriculum, Carol, and I want to point out to the audience that our teachers have the autonomy to adjust that curriculum to the children in their classroom. So we are not sitting down teaching a traditional curriculum right out of a box. They have the autonomy to be able to move things around. Now, yes, it comes up to all of the state standards, and yes, we're still a school and we're still providing those services. But if we need to spend a little bit longer on history and bring it to life, we can do that. If we need to spend a little bit longer in science and do that experiment again because the kids got really excited about it or there were concepts that were missing, we have time to be able to do it again because of our class sizes. And we're able to say, okay, Carol, let's work with Heidi this time and see if you get a different result. So we're also relationship building as well. And we're supporting each other and we're encouraging the children supporting each other as well. And again, like I said earlier, everything that we do in our school has a literacy focus, and all of the strategies that the children learn in these different areas are all just strengthening, and I say, like, unlocking their gift. They have these gifts and it's there, and these are amazing children. And just to share a little bit of data with you, our children will make on average 2 years of academic growth in one school year because of the way that we program and model our school.
Wow. That's impressive, Heidi. We should have led with that. That should have been the first thing I said.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
So I want to give our family members an idea of if they call, they say, Mrs. Mozilla, I'm interested in coming to visit. I'd like to bring my family, my my child, my husband. Say that, hypothetically speaking, I'm calling you, and I say this. What is the time period between the phone call or what happens next? What are the prerequisites, or what has to happen in order for me to come to visit?
So, Carol, you can come and visit me tomorrow if I have room in my schedule. We definitely want to be accommodating to any family that needs our support. One of the first things that we'll start to ask is, what are the diagnoses of your children, so that we can see whether we are the right support for you before you even walk in our doors. We don't want you to be disappointed walking through the door. We want to make sure that you have a positive experience and that we are the right fit for you. If we're not, we'll certainly give you those other resources, because we partner with other schools in the area and say, we may not be able to do everything we can to support you to where you need to be, but here are some additional resources. So that is really important to us as well, that we're a resource center for our families too. So if a child has an ADHD diagnosis and needs some additional support, we can help with that. If a child has struggles with reading, writing, or math, we can help with that. And what we're looking for is, does the child have any kind of evaluation report from school? Has there been any testing? Has there been a diagnosis of, like, we think there's a struggling reader here, or there's a child kind of dropping behind and you're watching those grades drop on the report card? Those are the kinds of questions that we're going to ask right from the beginning. And then you're going to come in and we're going to extend that conversation not only to our admissions office, but to our administration, to our teachers, and to our classrooms. From there, if we really feel that this is going to be a perfect fit for you, we ask the student to come in and visit with us for a few days, check out the classroom, see what it feels like, see what it looks like, interact with their peers. And it's really cool to see the kids at the end of the day and say, so did you like it? Were you happy? The first day is always quiet. And then the second day, they're going down to the classroom by themselves and they're very independent. So it's fun to see that. But what we're doing is we're really evaluating how can we best support this child that's walking in our doors, and how can we best support that family as well. We'll have that honest conversation after that visit. And if Carol, if you and your family feel that this is going to be the right fit for your child, and we feel that we can provide all of those support services, we enroll all year round. So families can join us in the school year. We have families join us now. We've got 2 weeks left of school. Some families will join us for summer, just to try and check out the program and see what they think. We have a fantastic summer program this year. I'm very excited about this year. And then they'll also join us in the fall. So we are taking applications and enrollments right now. Our summer program is almost full. We do have some time in the morning for our literacy-based program. So that is really literacy focused in the morning. And we're looking at that reading, writing, and math strategies. But then in the afternoon, we're having a STEM camp. We're having a CrossFit camp. So we're going to get the kids getting active and moving around. We're also having a education technology that's coming in. And Mr. Leo is helping out with that too. And the art studio is going to be open as well. So we're trying to have not only that literacy-focused summer camp, but a lot of enrichment in the afternoon as well.
I'm so glad you mentioned about open enrollment, because I wanted to make a point to let our family members know that, because I know, typically in other school or with other schools, or as it pertains to other institutions, you have to wait until a certain time of year. So I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I was going to ask. That was the next question I was going to say. Can you talk about enrollment? Can you talk about enrollment? And you're absolutely right. When I've seen children come and they visit, the first day they're kind of feeling things out, as which is normal. I would do the same thing, feeling everybody out, feeling things out. Let me see how this works. Let me see how things go. And then by the second day, it's almost as if they've been there for months. It truly is. I want to take a moment to go to our socials. We have a message from Julie Audrey Ward Carnegie. She writes, "Greetings, everyone, regarding terms of both terms of Grover Cleveland and Thomas Hendricks, president. Frederick Trump, in the year 1885, product of chain migration. Elizabeth Christ Trump immigrated to America. She writes that Frederick Trump in 1885 was not stopped, was allowed 16-year-old and Elizabeth Christ Trump to remain. And I want to read this correctly. No words to affect exactly how there was an agreement made with Frederick Trump. Castle Garden was the first immigration center. An unaccompanied child. Many unaccompanied children arrived on SS Eider. In part statement of Gwenda Blair, in part statement of immigration attorney David Leopold. I want to say thank you so much for continuing the conversation, family. I was explaining earlier that we talked about several topics in the first hour of the show, and I always want the conversations to continue because the subject matters are important to me. That's exactly why I bring them up to you, because I want to discuss them with you. We were talking about so many things in the first hour. We talked about the teenager who knocked on the wrong door, who walked yesterday at a brain injury event just weeks after having been shot in the head. We talked about police responding to an unruly crowd of minors at Penn's Landing. And we talked about 11-year-old Adarian Murray, who was shot by a police officer after he called 911 to help protect his mother. So those are the conversations that we started earlier. And we're continuing the show by having a conversation with HEIDI MOZZILLA of Center School. We're talking about continuing the conversation about our babies and talking about helping our babies in the best way we can do so. And this right here is one way in which we can't do so, because Center School offers ways to help as per their curriculum. What we're going to do, though, is take a short break. I see time is just ticking. We're going to take a short break, but family, stay with us because we will be right back.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Music is my heart and soul. It's more precious than gold. Turn on some music.
This June, we celebrate Black Music Month and the 50th anniversary of hip-hop with an insightful and entertaining event. Join us for A Message in the Music, Friday, June 16th from 8 p.m. until 11 p.m. at World Cafe Live, 3025 Walnut Street. This event features a panel discussion on hip-hop as a soundtrack to inspire or incite, a live music trivia game show with prizes, a cipher, and an open mic. Our featured panelists include Dr. Aaron Smith, Tame, Queen Joe, Deanna Williams, and Ursula Rucker. If you love music, have opinions about the state of hip-hop, want to test your musical knowledge, and or want to show off your talent, then join us Friday, June 16th from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. at World Cafe Live. Admission is $20 in advance and $25 at the door. For more information, visit wordradio.com/Black Music Month.
Let's face it, life looks a little different. During these times, we're doing our best to keep our minds and bodies strong. And getting a flu shot helps us stay healthy, so we don't miss out on what matters, like having game night at home. Yeah, can't do that while sick with the flu. Now imagine family movie night that your daughter can't live without. Well, that's ruined. And don't forget your uncle's socially distanced cookout. See, that's why it's important to be at our strongest. Every year, millions of people in the US get the flu. Especially now, no one has time to miss out on moments that matter. So get your flu shot. Find out more at getmyflushot.org. Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
What are you waiting for? If you've been enjoying the information and interviews WURD provides every day, or come out to our community events, it might be time to become a member. This year marks the 20th anniversary of WURD, and there's no better time to join the forward movement. Sign up or renew your sustaining membership at just $90, or your digital membership for just $5 a month. Join online at wordradio.com/membership, or pick up the phone and give us a call at 215-425-7875. Press 4 for assistance. The time to join is now.
What am I waiting for?
What is love?
You're listening to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
I think I know what love is.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. We are talking with Heidi Mozzillo, and she is sharing with us about Center School. She is the Director of Marketing and Communications. And I know I've asked questions, but I'm so certain that I've not asked every question there is. And if you do have a question that I've not yet asked, please feel free to do so. Heidi's here to answer questions about the school, about the curriculum. If you're interested in knowing how you can visit, I'm going to ask Heidi to share once again her information and the website so that you'll have that. And if you miss it, you know that you can always reach out to me at loveandlife@wordradio.com to get that information. But before we go any further, I'm going to make sure I ask Heidi to do so now so that I don't move past it.
Thank you, Carol. So you can give us a call at 215-657-2200. You can go to our website at centerschoolpa.org, and you can email me. So it is my first initial last name, so H Mozzillo at centerschoolpa.org. They can also follow us on our social media channels as well and send us messages via that too. I'll always open those up. It is me that answers, so they will absolutely get the same experience on there with me too.
I love that. And I want to make sure that you spell your last name for our family members so they know what exactly they're typing.
Of course. Can I put yours in, Carol? Because yours is a lot easier than mine.
Sure.
It is MOZZILLO.
I think
a bit of a mouthful.
I think that was easy. That was simple. I have to say that, I've expressed and shared with our family members that you and I work together at Center School. So family, for those of you who missed it when I was sharing earlier, I was sharing that I go to Center School one day a week. I go to Center School and work with our babies. We have a music class. Excuse me. So I get to see Heidi once a week, and it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. And it's always a pleasure working with our little ones. And I call them all our little ones, but I work with 1st through 6th grade. But the school caters to, is it 1st through 8th grade? Am I correct in saying that? 1st through 8th grade. But I have such a wonderful experience with our 1st through 6th graders that it's always awesome. Every week there's always something. And I share with you I share with you most of the stories that I have from when I work with our babies. There's always a story to tell. Always. It looks like we're having a bit of a technical issue again with the visual, with Heidi's visual, but that's okay. Heidi's still here. So if you do have a question, feel free. You can share it in our socials, or you can always call us. And you know the number to do so. If you don't, it's 215-634-8065. You can call toll free at 1-866-361-0900. There she is. There she is. Heidi has returned. So I just want to say thank you to you for coming out and talking with us about the school. Heidi, I've been sharing with our family members. We've had several guests come on and talk about different challenges as it pertains to, well, some of the challenges that we discussed, here tonight. And we were talking about those challenges as they pertain to adults. So I thought it a good idea to talk with our family members and share with them that there is a school that caters to those challenges so that we can help, as we're learning, we can help with the journey to adulthood. We can most certainly do that. And I appreciated one other thing I appreciate everything you said, but one other thing that you said was about you all providing resources as well to the parents, because I think that's essential and helpful. And, you were saying that so many parents come to center school after having had such a hard time trying to find an institution that accommodates in the way that they need it to do so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can't. Family, if I could express to you and have you know and understand how I feel, I would do so, because I believe so much in this school, and I believe in the curriculum, and I believe in the staff. And I actually appreciate your approach to our babies so much that, again, I thought it necessary for you to come and say, okay, this is who we are. This is how long we've been here. If you two are interested, give us a call. And I should stress to you about the diversity of the school. I think that's so important because, we talk, especially when we talk about our babies, when we talk about Black and brown babies, and we talk about trying to find the right resources, trying to find the right programs, and trying to find the right avenues. And so I want you to know that it's a great place. It's a great place. It's a great place. So Heidi, thank you. Thank you so much for coming to talk with us, family. I hate when we get to this time of the evening. When we get to this time of the evening, we're coming to the close of the show, the end of the show. I want to say happy belated birthday again to Miss Joanne Dorman. I hope you had a magnificent day. And to anyone else whose birthday that I missed, please charge that to my head and not to my heart. But happy belated to you. Happy birthday to you if today is your birthday. And also to our callers that called to join the conversation earlier, to Ron, to Cliff, to Fred, to Miss Audrey, to Brother X. Brother X, I want to apologize to you because we had to go to commercial break, but I was definitely interested in the conversation we were having and the information you were sharing. Miss Audrey, I'm going to check out They Were Just in the Way, Indian removal. I am definitely going to check that out. And I thank you so much for that. I want to say thank you to Nasir, Ms. Joanne once again, Craig, Joey, Miss Lily, Gary, and Miss Julie. And Miss Julie, especially for the information. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for participating in the conversation and for sharing. Family, as we wrap up tonight's episode, I extend my utmost gratitude to you, as I always do, to each and every one of you for continuing to support Love and Life. Special thanks again, Heidi, for coming to spend some time with us. We're happy to have you here and to share with us about Center School. So thank you so much for that. Remember, you can reach out to me if you did not get the information that you were looking to receive. If you did not receive it when Heidi shared it, you can reach out to me at loveandlife@wordradio.com. Heidi, thank you for your time, your energy, for sharing space and knowledge and your attention with us. Additional thanks, as always, to Miss Kayla J. Thank you. Just thank you. Thank you. And Niall, for all that you do, all that you both do. Niall Jax. Family, you know I'm going to say it because I always do, and I mean it with every fiber of my being. We're all in this together. You hear me? We are all in this together. So I'm praying for you as I'm praying for me. And I'm asking you to be good. Be good to you, but be good to those around you. Hi there, Joey. I'm sorry. Did I miss you? I don't want to miss you. Hi, Joey. Joey Dixon. Be good to you, but be good to those around you. Please, please, please. And remember, have a great night, okay? And be sure to join me Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time for another edition of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Need a minute? Take a breath and breathe in positivity. Here are words of joy